My heart nearly stopped when I stepped into the barn and saw the sacks empty. Not stolen grain, not even stolen property, really, but stolen dignity. That sick feeling. It wasn't about the cow manure. It was knowing exactly who had done it. And worse, who thought she had the right to do it. And speak of the devil, there she was, standing right at the edge of my field like she owned the land under her high heels, pointing at the barn like it was a crime scene, her mouth running a mile a minute, accusing me of God knows what, playing the victim while trespassing in broad daylight. You ever seen someone commit a crime and act like you're the one who owes them an apology? Yeah, that happened. Let me back up a sec. I'm Samuel Hayes, 47 years old, been farming in Maple Hollow, Colorado, for over 2 decades. I grow wheat on about 20 acres and raise enough tomatoes and corn out back to make every potluck in town jealous. Folks know me around here as the quiet type flannel shirt, weathered hat, minding my own business. That was until Madeline Graves showed up. She was new in town, sharp suits, colder smile. Got herself elected HOA president in record time. Said she wanted to beautify the neighborhood. But she didn't want beauty, she wanted control. And unfortunately, she had her eyes locked on me. All it took was one delivery. Just one. A flatbed truck rolled up on a Tuesday morning stacked high with 50-pound sacks of dried cow manure. Compost gold. I've been using it for years, ordered straight from Branson's organic farm. Helps my vegetables grow like they've been touched by angels. The driver offloaded them into my barn like always, and I thought nothing of it. Until the next morning. White envelope, HOA seal. Immediate cease and desist of all commercial activities. I laughed at first. I mean fertilizer for tomatoes. I figured it was a mistake. So I knocked on Madeline's door to explain. She opened it like she'd been waiting for a fight. "Mr. Hayes," she said, arms folded, curls bouncing with every syllable. "I wasn't born yesterday. Those are grain sacks. I've got photos. You're running a commercial operation out of your barn, and it ends now." I told her politely that she had no right to inspect my barn, that it was private property, that she was wrong. She hissed. And I swear her face turned redder than a sunburned apple. "We'll see about that." And oh boy, we did. That weekend, she called an emergency HOA meeting. 20 neighbors packed into her living room like canned sardines, and up on her flat screen, a full-on PowerPoint presentation. Arrows. Zoomed-in aerial shots of my barn. Even a bar graph about declining property values and industrial traffic. All based on manure. She pushed through new fines, $1,000 here, $500 there for odor, unauthorized structures, and unapproved soil additives. It was laughable. I mean, that manure smells less than the roses in her own yard. But the worst part, she started turning folks against me. Next thing I knew, moms stopped letting their kids play with my grandson Eli. Little guy just turned 8. Loves racing toy trucks up and down the porch. And suddenly, no one came to his birthday party. No explanation. Just silence. That silence hit harder than any fine. But I wasn't about to let Madeline win. What she didn't know. Before I went full-time into farming, I spent 15 years with the Colorado Department of Agriculture. Field inspections, legal compliance, fraud investigations. I know ag law like preachers know scripture. So I started documenting everything, every fine, every visit, every camera pointed at my yard from her so-called Special Oversight Committee, which, let's be honest, was just 3 nosy retirees and a clipboard. Then came the twist I didn't expect. One evening, her husband, Martin Graves, shows up at my place. Now, I'd barely spoken 2 words to the man before, but he looked like hell-dark circles under his eyes. "Tie askew, Sam," he said. I'm sorry, I should have stopped this. Turns out he'd been trying. For months. But Madeline was obsessed. Measuring grass height, timing street parking, counting porch light bulbs. The HOA wasn't about community anymore. It was a personal empire. But the gold mine that came from someone completely unexpected. Mrs. Norma Ellison, 78, lived on the corner lot with the wind chimes and lavender bushes. Sweet as pie until she pulled out a shoebox full of printed photos, notes, audio recordings. She'd been documenting Madeline's activities for years. Trespassing, harassment, even raiding trash bins to investigate homeowners. She had it all. One photo showed Madeline inside a neighbor's backyard with a flashlight. One recording caught her telling someone, "We'll make them want to move." It wasn't just overreach, it was psychological warfare. With Norma and Martin backing me, I called Marcus Baines, my old legal partner from the state office. We sat down with everything: emails, HOA bylaws, fines, and found violations everywhere. Illegal enforcement measures, misuse of HOA funds, $15,000 spent on surveillance gear, and a ridiculous wooden gavel she used at meetings. So, we planned something big. See? Madeline scheduled another emergency meeting, this time in the Maple Hollow Community Hall. She said it was to protect the community from commercial exploitation. But I had other plans. That night, the room was packed. Over 200 neighbors, biggest turnout in the neighborhood's history. Madeline marched up front with her projector, dramatic music, charts, slides of my barn, all as if she was unveiling some evil empire. Then she asked, "Any questions before we vote?" That's when I stood up. I walked up, coffee mug still in hand, calm as a spring morning. Pulled out a USB drive. "Let's clear something up," I said. "This grain operation you've all heard about. That's 2 tons of dried, composted cow manure for my garden. Slide after slide. I showed photos, labels, receipts from Branson's farm, compost certifications. Then I laid out spreadsheets of every fine she'd imposed violating state law by charging 5 times the legal maximum. Murmurs turned into shouts. People were angry. "And this," I said, switching slides again, "is a copy of Madeline Graves' purchases made with your HOA dues." Then came the final blow. "Hi, I'm Tom Keller." "Channel 7 Investigative News," a voice said from the back. Cameras flashed. Madeline froze like a statue. Tom stepped up, mic in hand. "We've been investigating HOA abuse across the state, and it looks like Maple Hollow just became our top story. But it wasn't over yet. Mr. Gerald Foster, our oldest neighbor, Wutu vet, stood slowly, voice shaking but firm. "That woman tried to fine me out of my house," he said, "so she could sell it to some developer she's connected to." That was it. The vote of no confidence passed unanimously. Madeline stormed out, sputtering something about conspiracies, but the community had spoken. By sunrise Monday, a moving truck was in her driveway. By sunset, the house was empty. Martin left a letter on every porch. Apologies. Refund checks for every illegal fine. He resigned from the board, too. Legal charges followed fast. The Colorado Attorney General got involved. And as for me, I was asked to chair the new HOA board against my better judgment. But I agreed. Only with transparency. Only with oversight. We set up a public fund to protect residents from future abuse. And Mrs. Norma. We made her head of the new watchdog committee. She still carries that shoebox. And the barn. Yeah, still full of compost. Visitors come by just to take photos with the sacks that saved Maple Hollow. We even put up a little plaque. But if you ask me, the real fertilizer in this story wasn't in those bags. It was the lies, the power hunger, the arrogance. Madeline Graves thought she could rule by fear, like most tyrants do. But she forgot one thing. You don't mess with a farmer who knows the law. So let me leave you with this. Have you ever seen a quiet neighborhood turn into a battleground because someone thought their clipboard gave them the right to rule? Or maybe you are that person watching this now, justifying every little violation notice you've handed out. Tell me, was it ever about the rules? Or was it always about the power? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was justice served, or did it go too far? And hey, never underestimate a farmer. We don't just grow crops. Sometimes we grow revolutions.